Hi, I'm Alex from the Southern Ukulele Store, and we have a lot to talk about. We've just had a big delivery of KoAloha ukuleles. Who are KoAloha? You know who they are if you're watching this video, but if you don't, they are one of the 4 Hawaiian K brands. I often say 3 Hawaiian K brands because that's what we do at Southern Ukulele Store, but there are 4. You've got Kanalea, Kamaka, Kulau, and KoAloha. KoAloha are the quirkiest of the bunch. They started in the early 1990s. Pop Sakami, a very eccentric man, met a man selling watchmaking tools door to door and began making very tiny musical instruments. We actually have 2 of those ukuleles that were gifted to us by Pop Sakami a few years back. Pops continues to make ukes to this day. Many of them are his concept and wackier ukuleles, but the main KoAloha brand has been continued by his sons, and they have a great small workforce in Hawaii that produce these ukuleles. A normal KoAloha would be made of koa. That's pretty obvious, it's in the name, koa, aloha, put together. But as the years have gone on, they've evolved, and they made a very, very cool, quirky model called the Naupaka, which mixed koa and mango. And then eventually they made a production mango model. We're going to look at the koa and mango today, but we're also going to take a look at the second batch of a SUS exclusive model, which has Western red cedar tops and koa back insides. So you have 3 different faces of KoAloha there to look at today. I think what we'll do is we'll start with the SUS exclusives, the Western red cedar and koa. Let's make a meaningful start now by talking about KoAloha's SUS series. The SUS series, depending on the size, would be known as a KSM SUS, KCM SUS, or a KTM SUS. This is the second batch. There's been about a 15-month gap between each batch, so in total there's only about 20 of these in the world, of which half of them are available now. The model itself is the same as a standard 00 series KoAloha, which we'll talk about a bit later on, but with a cedar top. The Western red cedar is not abundant, it's not something grown in Hawaii, so they are slightly more expensive because of the import cost of getting the wood to the islands for manufacturing, but they all look great. The inspiration behind doing this series of KoAloha was they saw the SUS exclusive Alaskan rainbow cedar models we used to have made by Kanalea. And when that became something that we couldn't affordably get made anymore, KoAloha stepped in and said, actually, we would really love to do something like this. We love experimenting with different woods. And as a result, this special issue series was born. The fingerboard and bridge are ebony. It's a tie-on bridge, and they have power abalone dots, which shimmer under a bright light. You have an ebony faceplate with another KoAloha abalone logo. Before I move on to the other spec, actually, let's talk about the faceplates. These have evolved so much over time. In fact, in my 16 years of selling KoAloha, the faceplate and the overall spec of KoAlohas has changed more than any other brand at all. Older KoAlohas would have had a Hawaiian Koa faceplate, and you still see that on some models now. The modern evolution actually came about after the 25th anniversary. They did a silver series ukulele, which had a really regal headstock, and they've continued that onto many of their production models now. We always liked it, and it was always a nice feature that really drew people in. You've got that 5-point crown, which is completely unique to KoAloha. You can spot a KoAloha from a mile away from this 5-point crown, which is even more visible and noteworthy from the back. And then you've got these closed gear KoAloha tuners, which are on all sizes of the models now. Back in the day, they used to use friction tuners. That's no more. They've switched over to these geared tuners made by De Jong. A really good, reliable tuner as well. Does change the look of a KoAloha a bit. I do get why some people prefer that vintage look with the tuners going through the back of the headstock, but the tuners on these now are much, much more reliable. Well, I'm holding the concert, but we're going to give the soprano, concert and tenor SUS models a play now and see what you think. Next up, let's take a look at the series that KoAloha is most famous for. This is the 00 series. I'm looking at the soprano here, which is a KSM 00. You would also have a KCM 00 or a KTM 00, depending on the size. And we are going to hear all three at the end of this segment. This is all Hawaiian Koa for the top, back and sides, with a high gloss finish. The gloss finishes on KoAlohas have changed a lot over the years now. These ones are very, very light and very glass-like. It's amazing to see how different the finish is on a 14, 15-year-old KoAloha to now. It's something that they've clearly refined many, many times over the years and continue to look at. You've got the Musubi rice bowl sound hole, so that unique shape to the sound hole. And one thing we didn't talk about on the previous model, the SUS model, was the neck join. The neck join on KoAlohas is very unique. It's a CNC shaped neck with a really long elongated heel graft down to a flat point. It can be quite difficult to put a strap button in the underside of the neck on a KoAloha. Depending on which one of my texts you'll speak to, you know, you might get quite a passionate argument that the second one should go there, just to let you know. But it's something we can always work around. You have a gloss neck going up to the same 5-point crown ebony faceplate with the KoAloha abalone inlay. Abalone dots on the fingerboard itself with these closed gear KoAloha branded tuners. It's just iconic, isn't it? There's something timeless about this because it doesn't look like anything else out there. If you were to put a KoAloha in a lineup against other ukuleles, it would be really hard to tell if it was the most modern design or the thing that everything else is based on. I've always just had a soft spot, especially for the smaller KoAlohas, because they're so bouncy and project so readily and freely. As somebody that struggles with smaller sized ukuleles now after so many years of playing tenors and baritones, I like that the soprano and concert KoAlohas just have so much personality. They don't sound thin. They've got a lot of depth, a lot of projection, and they're not afraid of you, the player. You know, they want to project and they want to give you as much kind of volume and flavour as possible. Let's give the KSM 00, KCM 00, and KTM 00 a play and see what you think. I love the way a KoAloha bends. Nothing else has that. Finally today, let's take an interesting turn towards mango. This is the KoAloha KTM 00 MG. Basically, it's the same as the standard Koa series, but with MG on the end because it has the mango body. KoAloha began by making the Naupaka, which is a fantastic and very cool, quirky instrument which has a split top of mango and koa and a split back of mango and koa too, with various sides of mango and koa. It's a jigsaw puzzle of a ukulele if ever there was one, except for the Ohana jigsaw puzzle ukulele, obviously. You know what I'm trying to say. And the Naupakas have a nice kind of Hawaiian lore to them as well, about two flowers that grow in two different parts but can never meet, and when they do, it's a whole thing. Go back and watch my video if you're interested. But the mango KoAloha has always excited me. Anyone who's been following this channel for a long time will know that I've always been a bit fruity for mango ukuleles. I've always been saying this is the future, this is what people are going to be playing. And it's one of those few times in my life where I've been right. Mango has become more prevalent than ever. Everyone is using it, and it's grown in so many different places. KoAloha exclusively use Hawaiian mango. It's a wood that is seen as the alternative to koa as koa prices continue to rise. The wood itself is not scarce, but it's being used by so many other manufacturers now in the guitar world, for example. So mango has become a popular choice for companies looking to continue, a high output of ukuleles, but retain the Hawaiian feel and spirit and sound. That's where mango comes in. The mango ukulele itself looks very similar to the koa ukuleles. It doesn't have that gloss hint to it. It's a much kind of greener, so almost kind of white wood. But you have to love mango. I'm holding the tenor here right now. Otherwise, the spec is exactly the same. You have a musubi rice bowl sound hole, ebony fingerboard and bridge with the power abalone dots, the faceplate on ebony with the closed gear tuners. KoAloha tenors are a bit different to other things in that they have a low G from the factory as standard. So when you're hearing these sound samples, that's why it sounds so different. They also have these recessed fret edges. The fingerboard, the actual string spacing is narrower than the nut width would suggest, which some people absolutely love. I have to say, for many years, it was my favorite approach to ukulele. I think it's only after years of playing on camera and having to adapt to other things I've evolved away from it. But for a long time, I swore by KoAloha necks as being how a ukulele should be. And there's so many people out there that really, they have a collection of KoAlohas for a reason. It's because it's the thing that's most comfortable to them. Everything else is the same as the other specs on the ukuleles we've looked at, but we do really need to hear how the mango sounds. I don't have a soprano, but I'm going to play the concert and tenor for you now. Let's see what you think. So what did you think, folks? We've compared cedar, koa and mango today. I think each has its place. There's reasons why someone would get excited about each of them. If you are a traditionalist, a purist, you're going to love koa. KoAlohas are so bubbly that koa is a great match, arguably the best match for that kind of sound. But if you want more out of it, mango can give you more depth, it can give you more warmth. And if you want to just have crazy dynamics in place, then obviously the cedar will give you that too. So there's something there for everyone. Personally, I've had the koa and I've had mango KoAlohas, and I've regretted getting rid of them. They are just great ukuleles, a great company, and I love being able to talk about them for my shop. So if you have any questions, contact me on 01202 430 820 in the UK, or you can email alex@ukulele.co.uk. I do not know when more of these Western Red Cedar SUS models will come in, but I choose to be happy that we got to feature them and have our name on a KoAloha ukulele at all. That's about it for me, folks. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.